Well, then our next piece is, why do we have IP addresses? And we could argue, why do our houses have addresses? It's so they're reachable, for the mail people to deliver the mail, for people to show up at our house, hopefully announced, right? So they can get there. And that's the whole purpose of an IP address. An IP address has two parts, and you guys are experts at this already. There's only two parts in an IP address. You have the street name, which is common for everybody who lives on that street. And then you have on the far right, you have the host ID, which is really just a fancy way of saying the house number. Now, when I write a letter to my dear sister, I have a sister named Susan, so I guess I could kill two birds with one stone there. But if I write a letter to my sister Susan, I'll normally put the house number first, like 5852, space, and then the street name. With IP addresses, they do it the other way around. It has the street first, so you have a street, and then you have the actual house number after that. So let me introduce you to our alien race, which is binary numbering systems. And an IP address really has two parts. It has a network address, like a street name, and a house number. But from the computer perspective, it's 32 ones or zeros, base to operating system. And so here it is in all of its glory. We have 32 bits from left to right or right to left. So IP version 4 is 4 separate chunks. And these 4 chunks are going to have 8 bits each. So let's back up for a second and make sure we're comfortable. A bit is just one position, if you will. It's either a 1 or a 0. And if we have 32 bits to begin with, and we have 4 chunks of 8 bits each, what's 4 times 8?
32.
I just want to make sure they match. So it's still the same IP address, it's just it makes it easier to deal with. And then we convert these 8 bits at a time into decimal. Why? Why are we doing the alien conversion for these things?
So we can read them.
That's perfect. Robert said, so we as humans can read them and communicate them. So I can say my IP address is 72.16.128.17, and any other human who also understands decimal can actually write that down, configure it, and so forth. That's the magic. Cat's out of the bag. That's an IP address. Now we add the periods between them to separate one number from the other. So they call it dotted decimal notation. So we have a decimal number, the period, decimal number, period, and then the final number. That is an IP address in a nutshell.